The starship Curiosity drifted silently through the inky void of space, its sleek hull gleaming under the light of unfamiliar stars. Inside the bridge, Captain Sarah Chen stood with her hands clasped behind her back, dark eyes fixed on the swirling, blue-green orb that dominated the main view screen. "All right, team," she said, her voice steady despite the excitement coursing through her veins. "We've come farther than any human in history. Let's make this count." The planet before them, designated HD 985C, had been the subject of intense speculation for decades. Long-range scans had detected signs of a technologically advanced civilization, but all attempts at communication had failed. Now, humanity had finally mustered the resources and courage to send a manned mission to investigate. Sarah's second-in-command, Dr. Amit Patel, looked up from his console with a mix of awe and trepidation. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple artificial structures on the surface, definitely signs of an advanced civilization. Any response to our hails?" Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. Communications Officer Li Wei shook his head. "Nothing, Captain, same as the last 100 attempts." Sarah nodded, her mind racing through possible scenarios. Protocol dictated that they should maintain orbit and continue attempts at communication. But something in her gut told her that wasn't going to work. This mission was about making contact, about extending the hand of friendship to a new species. Sometimes it required taking risks. "Prep the lander," she announced, causing her crew to exchange surprised glances. "I'm going down there." "Captain," Amit protested, "regulations clearly state." Sarah held up a hand, silencing him. "I know the regulations, Amit. I also know that we've come too far to sit in orbit and hope someone picks up the phone. Sometimes you have to take the initiative." As her crew scrambled to prepare for the unprecedented landing, Sarah made her way to the equipment bay. She donned her exosuit, a marvel of human engineering designed to protect her from a wide range of environments. As she sealed the helmet, she caught her reflection in the polished surface of a nearby panel. For a moment, doubt crept into her mind. Was she being reckless? Was she risking not just her life, but the entire mission on a hunch? But then she remembered the words of her mentor, the legendary explorer Admiral Hiroshi Yamamoto. "The greatest discoveries are made by those brave enough to take the first step into the unknown." With renewed determination, Sarah boarded the lander. As the small craft detached from the Curiosity and began its descent towards HD 985C, she broadcasted one final message to her crew and to Earth, billions of light-years away. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the starship Curiosity. We've traveled across the stars in search of new life and new civilizations. Today, we take the next giant leap for humankind. Whatever happens, know that we came in peace, in the spirit of friendship and discovery." The lander pierced the planet's atmosphere, flames licking at its heat shields. Sarah's hands flew over the controls, guiding the craft towards a large clearing near what appeared to be a sprawling city. As the ground rushed up to meet her, she activated the landing thrusters, bringing the vessel down with a gentle thud. For a moment, all was silent. Sarah performed a final check of her suit's systems before activating the lander's exit ramp. As it lowered, she took a deep breath, steeling herself for whatever awaited her. The alien world that greeted her was both familiar and utterly foreign. The sky was a deep purple, streaked with wispy orange clouds. Two suns hung low on the horizon, bathing everything in a warm, golden light. The air, according to her suit's sensors, was breathable but had a higher oxygen content than Earth's. But it was the city that truly captured Sarah's attention. Soaring spires of what looked like crystal and metal reached towards the sky, their surfaces shimmering with an inner light. Streets and walkways wound between the buildings, but there were no signs of ground vehicles. Instead, Sarah spotted floating platforms zipping between the towers, carrying what she assumed were the planet's inhabitants. Speaking of inhabitants, a crowd had begun to gather at the edge of the clearing, drawn by the spectacle of the landing. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she got her first look at the alien species. They were tall, easily 7 or 8 feet in height, with slender, graceful bodies covered in iridescent scales. Their faces were vaguely reptilian, with large, expressive eyes and small, ridged noses. But what struck Sarah most was their obvious sexual dimorphism. The aliens appeared to be entirely female. As Sarah took a tentative step forward, her universal translator picking up a flurry of alien speech, she noticed something else. The aliens were not just curious. They were afraid. Many were backing away, some even fleeing back towards the city. "Wait," Sarah called out, holding up her hands in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "I come as a friend." Her words, translated into a series of melodic chirps and trills by her suit, seemed to give the aliens pause. One of them, taller than the rest and adorned with intricate, glowing markings, stepped forward. When she spoke, her voice was deep and resonant, filled with authority. "Who are you, strange creature, to descend from the sky and invade our world?" Sarah swallowed hard, acutely aware that the fate of this first contact, and possibly the future of human-alien relations, rested on her next words. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the planet Earth," she said, trying to project confidence and friendliness. "We are explorers, seekers of knowledge and friendship. We've traveled across the stars in the hope of meeting new civilizations like yours." The lead alien's eyes narrowed, studying Sarah with obvious suspicion. "And what makes you think we desire your friendship? We have seen your kind before, in the histories of other worlds. Always you come with promises of peace, only to bring destruction and chaos." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Had humanity's reputation already preceded them? Or were these aliens confusing humans with some other spacefaring race? "I assure you," Sarah said carefully, "we have never visited your world before. Humanity has only recently developed the ability to travel between stars. Whatever you may have heard about us, I promise you, we come in peace." The alien leader seemed unconvinced, but before she could respond, a commotion broke out in the crowd. A smaller alien, perhaps a juvenile, had broken away from the group and was approaching Sarah with obvious curiosity. "Zira," the leader called out in alarm. "Come back here at once." But the young alien Zira paid no heed. She came right up to Sarah, her large eyes wide with wonder. She reached out a slender, scaled hand towards Sarah's helmet. In that moment, Sarah made a decision that would change the course of history. Slowly, telegraphing her movements, she reached up and unsealed her helmet. As she removed it, letting her long black hair spill out, a collective gasp went through the alien crowd. "Hello, Zira," Sarah said softly, smiling at the young alien. "It's nice to meet you." Zira chirped in excitement, her hand hovering just inches from Sarah's face. "You're so small," she exclaimed. "And your skin, it's so smooth. Where are your scales?" Sarah chuckled, the tension of the moment broken by the child's innocent curiosity. "Humans don't have scales," she explained. "We have skin and hair instead." As Zira continued to pepper Sarah with questions, the alien leader approached, her posture slightly less hostile than before. "You removed your protection," she said, a note of grudging respect in her voice. "Why?" Sarah met the alien's gaze steadily. "To show you that I trust you, that I'm willing to make myself vulnerable in the name of friendship." The leader was silent for a long moment, her large eyes unreadable. Finally, she spoke. "I am Sora, High Matriarch of the Zinthari people. Your bravery is noteworthy, Sarah Chen of Earth. Perhaps we judged you too hastily." Sarah felt a surge of hope. It wasn't much, but it was a start. "Thank you, High Matriarch Sora. I hope this can be the beginning of a lasting friendship between our peoples." As the suns began to set, casting the alien world in a breathtaking array of colors, Sarah realized that her journey, and humanity's greatest adventure, was only just beginning. The path ahead would be fraught with challenges, misunderstandings, and dangers. But as she stood there, surrounded by curious aliens on a world light years from Earth, Sarah Chen knew that this was what she had been born to do. This was the moment that would define not just her life, but the future of her entire species, and she was ready for whatever came next. The hive mind conundrum. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the edge of a vast, pulsating chamber, her eyes wide with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The walls seemed to breathe, covered in a bioluminescent material that shifted colors in hypnotic patterns. This was the heart of Xinthari society, the hive nexus. "Welcome, Sarah of Earth, to our most sacred place," High Matriarch Thora's voice resonated through the chamber. Few outsiders have ever witnessed this. Sarah's mind raced, trying to process the implications of what she was seeing. The Xinthari weren't just a matriarchal society, they were a collective consciousness, linked through a biological network that defied human understanding. "It's incredible," Sarah breathed, her words barely audible of the low hum that permeated the air. "But I don't understand. How does this work?" Thora's multifaceted eyes glimmered with something akin to pride. "We are many, yet we are one. Through the nexus, we share thoughts, memories, and emotions. It is the source of our strength and unity." As fascinating as the concept was, Sarah couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The idea of a hive mind was eerily reminiscent of humanity's fears about artificial intelligence. How much individuality did the Xinthari retain? And more importantly, how would this impact diplomatic relations? "Your discomfort is palpable, Sarah," Sora observed, her head tilting in curiosity. "Does the concept disturb you?" Sarah hesitated, knowing her next words could make or break this fragile alliance. "It's not disturbance, exactly," she began carefully. "It's more concern. On Earth, we value individual freedom and privacy highly. The idea of sharing every thought, every memory, it's a bit overwhelming." A ripple of what could only be described as amusement passed through the chamber. The walls pulsed with warm hues of orange and pink. "Ah, the famous human individualism," Sora trilled, her voice tinged with something between fascination and pity. "We've observed it in other species, but never quite so pronounced. Tell me, Sarah, doesn't it get lonely in that isolated mind of yours?" The question caught Sarah off guard. She'd never thought of her own consciousness as lonely. But standing here, surrounded by the palpable sense of connection that the Xinthari shared, she felt a sudden, acute awareness of her mental solitude. I've never thought about it that way," she admitted, "but surely there must be drawbacks to such constant connection." Axora's expression shifted, a shadow passing over her features. "There are challenges," she conceded. "Not all thoughts are pleasant, not all memories are kind. To share in the collective pain of our people can be overwhelming." As if on cue, the chamber's colors darkened, swirling with deep purples and blues. Sarah felt a wave of sadness wash over her, so intense it nearly brought her to her knees. "What's happening?" she gasped, struggling to regain her composure. "Forgive us," Sora said, her voice strained. "You are experiencing an echo of our collective grief. There is a sickness spreading through our younger generations, a fracturing of a mind that threatens the very fabric of our society." The revelation hit Sarah like a physical blow. This wasn't just a diplomatic mission anymore. She was standing at the precipice of a potential societal collapse. "Is there anything we can do to help?" Sarah asked, her explorer's curiosity overridden by genuine concern. Sora's eyes locked onto Sarah's, filled with a desperate hope. "Perhaps your individualism, which we once viewed as a weakness, may be the key to our salvation. We need a perspective untainted by the collective. We need you." The weight of the moment pressed down on Sarah. She had come seeking friendship between worlds, but now found herself thrust into the role of potential savior for an alien race. The enormity of the task ahead was daunting, but also exhilarating. "I'm just one human," Sarah said, her voice steady despite her inner turmoil. "But I promise you, Zora, I'll do everything in my power to help your people." As the words left her mouth, the chamber exploded in a riot of color. Waves of gratitude and hope washed over Sarah, nearly overwhelming her senses. She staggered, steadied by Sora's gentle touch on her arm. "Then let us begin," the High Matriarch said, her voice filled with renewed purpose. "For the sake of both our peoples, we must find a way to bridge the gap between individual and collective consciousness." As they left the hive nexus, Sarah's mind was awhirl with possibilities. She had come to this alien world expecting to find differences, but instead discovered a profound truth. Despite the vast gulfs of space and evolution that separated them, both humans and Zinthari shared a fundamental desire for connection. The challenge that lay ahead was monumental. Sarah would need to draw on every ounce of human ingenuity, adaptability, and compassion to help the Zinthari. But as she looked up at the alien sky, where the Curiosity orbited silently above, she felt a surge of determination. This was more than first contact. This was the forging of a bond that could reshape the galaxy. And Sarah Chen, one small human from a distant blue planet, found herself at the very heart of it all. Little did she know, the true test of her resolve, and of humanity's place in the cosmos, was yet to come. The Quantum Empath Protocol. Sarah Chen stood before the shimmering holographic display, her eyes darting between complex equations and pulsating 3D models of Zinthari neural networks. Weeks had passed since her introduction to the Hive Nexus, and the gravity of the situation had only grown. "The neural fracturing is accelerating," Dr. Amit Patel's voice crackled through the comm link from the orbiting Curiosity. "At this rate, the younger Zinthari will completely lose their connection to the collective within months." Sarah ran a hand through her disheveled hair, frustration evident in her voice. "We're missing something, Amit. The Zinthari biology is so alien, our conventional approaches are useless." As if summoned by her words, High Matriarch Stora glided into the room, her iridescent scales shimmering under the soft bioluminescent lighting. "Perhaps," she trilled, "it is time we attempted the unthinkable." Sarah turned, eyebrow raised. "I'm open to suggestions at this point." Kawura's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer with an inner light. "There is an ancient protocol, passed down through the ages but never attempted. We call it the quantum empath synthesis." The term sent a shiver down Sarah's spine. It sounded both thrilling and terrifying. What exactly does that entail? Paxtora moved to the holographic display, her slender fingers dancing over the controls. The image shifted, showing a complex tangle of quantum filaments intertwining with neural pathways. "In theory," Sora explained, her voice hushed with reverence, "it would allow a non-Zinthari mind to temporarily link with our collective consciousness, a bridge between your individualism and our unity." Sarah's mind reeled at the implications. "Are you suggesting I connect to the Hive Nexus?" "How relevant is money, you?" Sarah Chen, with your unique human perspective, might be able to identify the source of the fracturing from within. For a moment, the lab was silent save for the soft hum of equipment. Sarah's thoughts raced. The risks were enormous. She could lose herself in the collective, her individual identity swallowed by the vast ocean of Zinthari consciousness. But the potential benefits. If it works, Sarah mused aloud, we could not only save the Zinthari, but revolutionize our understanding of consciousness itself. "Captain," Amit's concerned voice cut through her thoughts. "The dangers are incalculable. We have no way of knowing how a human mind will react to such a connection." Sarah squared her shoulders, a familiar determination settling over her. "Sometimes, Amit, the greatest discoveries require the biggest risks. Prepare the Curiosity for emergency extraction, just in case. I'm doing this." The next few hours passed in a blur of preparation. Sarah was led to a chamber deep within the heart of the Zinthari city, a place where the very air seemed to pulse with psychic energy. She lay on a crystalline bed, surrounded by softly glowing orbs of alien technology. Sora stood beside her, concern evident in her alien features. "Are you certain, Sarah? Once the process begins, there is no turning back." Sarah met the High Matriarch's gaze, her voice steady. "I'm sure. Whatever happens, know that I do this freely, in the name of friendship between our peoples." With a nod, Thora began the activation sequence. The walls around Sarah pulsed with increasing intensity, and she felt a strange tingling sensation spreading from the base of her skull. Suddenly, the world exploded into color and sensation. Sarah found herself adrift in an ocean of thoughts and emotions, each one a vivid spark in an endless cosmic dance. The sheer beauty of it brought tears to her eyes. But as she acclimated to this new state of being, Sarah became aware of a wrongness. Dark tendrils of fear and isolation snaked through the collective, growing more pronounced among the younger minds. With a thought, Sarah propelled herself towards these shadowed areas. As she drew closer, she began to understand. The young Zinthari weren't fracturing from the collective, they were evolving. Their minds were developing a unique form of quantum entanglement, allowing for both individual identity and collective connection. The realization hit Sarah like a thunderbolt. The Zinthari weren't facing extinction, but transformation. They stood on the brink of becoming something entirely new, a species that could bridge the gap between individual and collective consciousness. With tremendous effort, Sarah focused her thoughts, projecting her discovery to the entire hive nexus. The effect was immediate and profound. Waves of joy and understanding rippled through the collective, dispelling the fear that had threatened to tear it apart. As the euphoria of discovery washed over her, Sarah felt herself being gently pulled back to her physical form. She opened her eyes to find Sora and a team of Zinthari scientists staring at her in awe. "You've done it," Sora breathed, her voice quivering with emotion. "You've saved us, Sarah Chen of Earth, and in doing so, you've ushered in a new era for both our peoples." As Sarah sat up, still reeling from the experience, she knew that nothing would ever be the same. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, one where the boundaries between self and other, individual and collective, were not walls but bridges. The journey ahead would be challenging, filled with ethical dilemmas and technological hurdles. But as Sarah looked out at the alien sky, she felt a profound sense of hope. Together, humans and Zinthari would forge a path to a future beyond imagination. And it all began with one human, brave enough to dive into the unknown depths of an alien mind, the cosmic zeitgeist anomaly. Sarah Chen stood at the helm of the Curiosity, her eyes fixed on the swirling vortex of energy that had suddenly appeared in the space between Earth and the Zinthari homeworld. The ship's alarms blared, warning of off-the-chart gravitational fluctuations and quantum disturbances. "What in the name of Einstein's ghost are we looking at?" Dr. Amit Patel exclaimed, his fingers flying over the sensor controls. Sarah's mind raced, drawing on her recent experience with the quantum empath synthesis. It's like a tear in the fabric of reality itself," she breathed, her voice filled with awe and trepidation. High Matriarch Thora's holographic form shimmered into existence beside them, her usually serene features etched with concern. "We're detecting similar phenomena across our entire star system," she reported. "Our scientists believe it's a manifestation of what we call the cosmic zeitgeist anomaly." "The what now?" Sarah asked, tearing her gaze away from the hypnotic swirl of cosmic energies. Sora's multifaceted eyes seemed to pulse with an inner light. An ancient prophecy speaks of a time when the collective consciousness of all sentient beings in the universe would reach a critical mass, creating rifts in space-time itself. Amit scoffed, ever the skeptic. "That's impossible. Consciousness doesn't affect physical reality on that scale, doesn't it?" Sarah mused, remembering the profound impact of her mental connection with the Zinthari hive mind. What if consciousness is more fundamental to the universe than we ever imagined? Before anyone could respond, a burst of energy from the vortex rocked the ship. Tendrils of iridescent light reached out, enveloping the curiosity in a cocoon of otherworldly energies. "Brace for impact," Sarah shouted, but instead of destruction, they experienced transcendence. In an instant, the minds of every crew member on the Curiosity, along with Exora and countless other beings across the galaxy, were linked in a vast cosmic network. It was like the Zinthari hive mind, but on an unimaginable scale. Sarah found herself adrift in an ocean of thoughts and emotions from a million alien species. Fragments of knowledge, glimpses of distant worlds, and echoes of ancient wisdom swirled around her. It was beautiful, terrifying, and utterly overwhelming. But amidst the chaos, Sarah noticed something extraordinary. The combined mental energy of all these linked consciousness was somehow stabilizing the rifts in spacetime. The very act of perceiving the universe as one interconnected whole was healing the cosmic fabric. With tremendous effort, Sarah focused her thoughts, reaching out to the myriad minds around her. "We're not just observers," she projected, her mental voice resonating across the galaxy. "We're participants in the universe's grand design. Our collective will can shape reality itself." The response was immediate and profound. Billions of minds, human and alien alike, joined in a cosmic chorus of realization and purpose. The rifts in spacetime began to close, knitting themselves back together under the influence of this unprecedented union of consciousness. As the cosmic zeitgeist anomaly subsided, Sarah found herself back on the bridge of the Curiosity, gasping for breath. The view screen showed clear, star-studded space where the vortex had been moments before. Did that really just happen?" Amit asked, his voice shaky. Sora's hologram nodded solemnly. "It did, and nothing will ever be the same." Sarah leaned back in her chair, her mind still reeling from the experience. "We've just witnessed the birth of a galactic community," she said softly. "No, more than that. We've become part of a cosmic consciousness." The implications were staggering. With this new level of connection, faster-than-light communication became possible. The combined knowledge of countless civilizations was now accessible, and the very nature of reality itself was revealed to be far more malleable than anyone had ever dreamed. "This changes everything," Sarah mused, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Our understanding of physics, our approach to technology, our concept of self and other." Axora's holographic form seemed to pulse with excitement. "Indeed, we stand at the dawn of a new era, Sora Chen of Earth. An era where the boundaries between mind and matter, individual and collective, are not just blurred but transcended." As the crew of the Curiosity began to process the momentous events they had just experienced, Sarah's thoughts turned to the future. The challenges ahead were enormous, but so were the possibilities. Humanity and the Zinthari, along with countless other species across the galaxy, would need to learn to navigate this new cosmic reality together. "Well," Sarah said, straightening her uniform and squaring her shoulders, "I suppose we should let Earth know that the universe just got a whole lot more interesting." As she prepared to send the most important transmission in human history, Sarah Chen couldn't help but feel a sense of profound optimism. They had faced the unknown and emerged not just unscathed, but transformed. Whatever came next, she knew that the combined will and wisdom of a united galaxy would be more than equal to the task. The cosmic adventure was just beginning, and Sarah couldn't wait to see where it would lead. The Quantum Harmony Protocol. Sarah Chen stood before the United Galactic Council, a gathering of representatives from over 1,000 alien species. The Grand Chamber, located in a space station at the heart of the Milky Way, hummed with anticipation. Holographic displays flickered with real-time translations, ensuring every being present could understand the historic proceedings. "Distinguished members of the Council," Sarah began, her voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. "We stand at a crossroads of cosmic significance. The cosmic zeitgeist anomaly has revealed to us the true nature of our universe, a reality where consciousness and matter are inextricably linked." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Sarah continued, her words carrying the weight of humanity's hopes and dreams. Today, I present to you the Quantum Harmony Protocol, a revolutionary approach that will allow us to harness the power of our collective consciousness to reshape the very fabric of space-time. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of excited chatter. Sarah activated a holographic display showing a complex network of quantum-entangled particles spanning the galaxy. By creating a network of quantum-entangled nodes across our worlds, she explained, we can establish a permanent link between all sentient minds. This will not only allow for instantaneous communication across vast distances, but also enable us to collectively influence the fundamental forces of the universe. A Zoblaxian representative, a being of pure energy, pulsed with skepticism. And what safeguards do you propose to prevent the abuse of such power? Sarah nodded, acknowledging the valid concern. The beauty of the Quantum Harmony Protocol is its inherent balance. No single individual or species can dominate the network. It requires consensus, a harmony of thought and intention. She gestured to High Matriarch Thora, who stepped forward. The Zinthari leader's scales shimmered with an otherworldly light as she addressed the council. Our experience with the hive mind has taught us the importance of unity while preserving individuality, Sora trilled. The protocol will not erase our differences, but celebrate them, creating a symphony of diverse consciousnesses working in harmony. As the council debated, Sarah felt a familiar tingling at the base of her skull. The remnants of her connection to the cosmic zeitgeist anomaly stirred, and suddenly, she was aware of countless minds across the galaxy, all focused on this moment. Inspiration struck. Sarah closed her eyes, reaching out with her thoughts. Honorable members of the council, she projected, her mental voice resonating not just in the chamber, but across the cosmic consciousness. Why simply tell you about the Quantum Harmony Protocol when I can show you? With a burst of concentrated will, Sarah tapped into the latent network of entangled particles that already existed throughout the galaxy. For a brief, breathtaking moment, every being in the council chamber, and indeed, every sentient mind across the Milky Way, was linked in a vast, harmonious whole. The effect was profound and immediate. Knowledge flowed freely, uninhibited by language or cultural barriers. Emotions cascaded like cosmic waves, fostering understanding and empathy on an unprecedented scale. And most incredibly, the very stars themselves seemed to pulse in rhythm with this galactic heartbeat. As Sarah gently severed the connection, she opened her eyes to find the council chamber transformed. Gone was the skepticism and political maneuvering. In its place was a sense of wonder and shared purpose. The Arcturian Empress, a being of crystalline beauty, was the first to speak. In all my millennia, I have never experienced anything so transcendent. The Quantum Harmony Protocol has my full support. One by one, the representatives voiced their agreement. Even the Zoblaxian, its energy form now pulsing with excitement, gave its enthusiastic approval. As the council voted unanimously to implement the Quantum Harmony Protocol, Sarah felt a wave of emotion wash over her. This was more than just a diplomatic victory or a scientific breakthrough. It was the dawn of a new era for all sentient life in the galaxy. The work ahead of us will not be easy, Sarah addressed the council one final time. Implementing the protocol will require cooperation on a scale never before seen. But together, united in purpose and mind, there is nothing we cannot achieve. As the session concluded, Sarah found herself surrounded by alien dignitaries, all eager to discuss the next steps. But her gaze was drawn to the vast starfield visible through the station's transparent dome. Out there, countless worlds awaited, each with its own unique consciousness to add to the cosmic symphony. The Quantum Harmony Protocol would not just change the galaxy, it would transform the very nature of existence itself. Sarah Chen, once a lone human explorer, now stood at the center of the greatest adventure in cosmic history. As she looked out at the stars, she couldn't help but smile. The universe, in all its infinite wonder, was about to become a whole lot more harmonious. And humanity, hand in hand with its new alien allies, would lead the way into this bright, interconnected future. The journey of discovery, of unity, of transcendence had only just begun.